Welcome back, Charlton Sports Weekly here at Anytime Fitness. I'll talk about got a big game over in Alma, Georgia this week.
Yeah, Bacon County is, I think 6 or 7-1.
I believe they're 6-1. They've already had their bye week. But like I said, they only lost one region game, and that was by a point to Clinch County. So
missed a field goal as time expired.
So it's not going to be your normal Charlton Bacon game, I don't think. From what I hear, there's going to be a big crowd there. So hopefully all the Indian fans will get on the road and get up there too.
You better get there by at the latest 6:30 if you want a seat. They got pretty decent size seating on the way side the last time we was up there, but it's nothing spectacular. So if you want a seat, you better get there early.
This is supposedly one of the biggest games probably that Bacon County's had in a long, long time.
I think this is probably the biggest game they've had since probably the mid-'80s. I think it was one year I was in high school, or maybe I was in junior high. They had a team that only lost 1 or 2 games and went into state playoffs to the second or third round, and so this is probably the biggest game they've had since then, whatever year that was.
So like I said, they're going to come in fired up. They're going, like I said, this is their season basically. Yeah. They got us and Wilcox back to back. If they can win one of them, it's a good chance. They could be a number 2 seed.
Yeah, and we need to win this game to stay on track for that number 2 seed.
Right. We pretty much need to win out against them and against Clinch to keep that number 2 spot.
Yeah, and we definitely want that because
it's a home game.
We get at least one home playoff game here, and I don't know the regions we match up with in the second round. But hopefully 3 or 4 seed can win, and we can get a second home game here.
As long as it's not like the 4 seed we had to face last year.
Oh, God. Never in my life seen a 1-loss 4 seed team that makes it to the state championship
That's what happens when you're dealing with sub-regions.
Yeah. So, if we get the number 2 seed, I'm glad that we're not going to be out at least the bracket I looked at. I don't think we'll be on the same side as Savannah Christian if they're the 1 seed out of Region 3.
I hadn't looked that far ahead,
so it may be a blessing in disguise getting a 2 seed.
Right. Like I said, Bacon, they got us and they got Wilcox, and I think they finish out the year with Lanier.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes like I hope it goes,
that could be for you number 4 seed.
That's what I'm hoping. Like I said, if we take care of business, you figure Wilcox is going to beat them.
Yeah.
And then that's going to pretty much put it down to that game for the number 4 seed.
Yeah.
If that's as long as Lanier doesn't mess up between here and there.
If Bacon County loses these last 3 games, we might need to send somebody up to Alma to pull some pistols out of somebody's mouth, because that'd be a major choke for them guys. As good as some of them fellas are talking up that team. So
I know I've been reading the Ben. They think they got a good chance.
They are not lacking any confidence, are they? And that's good. I like somebody that has confidence like that. But there's a thin line, I guess, between being a realistic or having realistic expectations and just being delirious to the point that you think you got your first year coach and you're already getting sized up for state championship games.
But like I said, I watched a little bit of film of the Atkinson County game last week. They turned the ball over 5 times against Atkinson. I think they won 35 to 34 to 13, I believe was the score. They're strictly a running team. Basically, will roll out and try to hit the tight end out in the flats or the fullback out in the flats, but run games are bread and butter.
They either going or they're going to live and die by the run. So
that plays in our hands
yeah,
pretty
that
well.
plays right into our hands because I'll take our defensive line and all 5 of our linebackers against their run game any day. So they'll find out that I think Friday night that, and not only this Friday, they'll find out next Friday. There's probably going to be a big difference between the top 2 teams in the region and the 3 and 4 seed.
But our kids have got to stay focused. Yeah. You're dealing with teenagers, and they hear a lot of talk. Say, you're going to win. They got to stay focused, do what they're supposed to do, and take care of business.
Yeah.
Because
anybody can get beat on any given night. I seen on the bench the other day. I think it was Aquinas beat Lincoln County. I don't know if that would be considered an upset. I'm not real familiar with Aquinas, but I know Lincoln County. Or what?
I think Aquinas played Jeff Davis last week, I believe.
It was some big upset in that region. That's right. Lincoln County's still undefeated. But
I think they played Washington Wilkes last week.
Right. Anyways, it was somebody got beat that shouldn't have.
Right.
It shouldn't have. Somebody beat somebody that shouldn't have had no business even being on the same field with them.
So
I guess I have one of them senior moments.
I know the
My mind's failing me.
You're joining the club,
yeah.
Man. But if our kids are listening and watching, hey, go out there, do what you got to do, take care of business. Don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. Might turn into one later on, but until it does, play your butts off.
And do your talking on the field.
That's right.
Talk's cheap in between downs. So let them talk all they want. I know in games earlier this year, some of the boys, and my boys have told me that some of the guys, even in between downs, would talk so much junk. And I told them, I said, well, if we win in the game, just point to the scoreboard.
That's right.
And one boy over there in Turner County got under Brent's skin so bad after the game. And I think you've seen it.
Did.
And after you walked off, I had to hold him back. And Coach Russell had to talk to him. He was going to go over in Turner County's field house and pull the boy out. So, but that boy, in Brent's defense, what that boy had said, I wouldn't have had a problem really letting Brent do it after hearing what he said.
But anyways, what other games we got this week in the region?
Looks like Irwin County is going to be at Atkinson County. The game's going to be in Pearson. I don't know if Atkinson can pull one out or not.
No, they haven't been able to do it so far, and I just can't see it happening.
I can't either. Of course, I think Irwin started out 0-4, then they beat Clinch. They lost to Lanier, beat Telfair, so that Irwin's only got 2 wins to Atkinson's 1.
They got an outside shot at a 4 spot.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they got an outside shot. But they'd have to hit a grand slam to get that outside shot. I'll say, let's pick a score in that game, Glenn. I'll say Irwin 28, Atkinson 21.
I'll go with Irwin. I'll give him some offense here, 35-14.
All right, next game, Lanier County at Turner County, and that's over in Ashburn. Turner County is a team to me. I see some of these scores, and earlier in the year, they get blown out, and then you see them the next game. We only beat them by 3 touchdowns. I think Wilcox last week beat them by 3 or either
I think
4.
it's 27-0 maybe.
Yeah, they beat them 4 touchdowns. They play kind of scrappy, but Lanier County, they've also come around. I think they're 3, 4, 4 and 3.
They've
4
lost
and
3
3
region games, I
Yeah,
believe.
they've lost to Clinch, Wilcox, and us. I think Lanier's going to go in there and control the clock and pull out a 14-13 win. That game could go either way.
That's right. It's going to be close, I think. It being in Ashburn, so I don't know how well Lanier plays on the road, but but Lanier's fighting for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
Turner's looking forward to basketball season, I think, by now. So they got a talented basketball team. So.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Lanier 20-14.
All right. Clinch County, they go to Telfair County. Clinch has lost 2 games this year. They lost to Irwin and Wilcox, and could have lost 2 other games. So but they went to Lanier County last week and handled them pretty easily.
They beat Turner the week before fairly easily.
Yeah, so they may be coming around. I'll say that Clinch County 35, Telfair 0.
I'm going to add about 10 more to the Clinch's total and give them about 45-0.
45-0, all right.
But that's pretty much all the 4 region games counting ours.
Well, let's pick ours here. How you see it going?
If our kids come out and play the way they're supposed to play, where they're capable of playing, I see us winning about 35-14.
I'm going to say we get up there and punch bacon in the mouth about midway through the first quarter, and they realize that they probably will realize at that point that they brought a pocket knife to a gunfight, and they'll be intimidated. And I'm going to say we win 41-14.
Oh, we ain't too far off on that one.
About the same. All right, let's go over some college picks. None of our 3 favorite teams are playing this week.
The Dogs, the Gators, and the Gamecocks are all got the
right.
week off.
All got a bye week. I got some games pulled up here. Oklahoma State at Missouri. I'm going to say Oklahoma State wins that game by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, Oklahoma State come out and was it Texas last week? They put a whooping on.
Yeah.
And I don't think Missouri's in the class that Texas is, so it's going to be pretty ugly Oklahoma State's way, I think.
Yep. All right. Clemson and North Carolina. Clemson almost fell last week. They was down big time to Maryland and somehow squeaked it back and come back. But I'm going to say that, Clemson's one of those teams, they'll start out good out the gate, and at some point they lose, and when they lose that first one, the wheels fall off. And I'm going to say that this week the wheels are loosening up, and I'm going to say North Carolina pulls an upset, beats Clemson.
I got to stick with Clemson until they run into somebody a little bit more formidable than North Carolina. Clemson's got some very, very talented.
They do.
They got some talented skill players.
They do. If they win this game, they very well could win the rest of their games, because I looked at their schedule. And other than this game, I think the only other team that really should give them a challenge and hopefully will beat them is Carolina. So,
Carolina losing Lattimore last week, I don't know what kind of backup running back they got, but I know he can't be as good as Lattimore.
Backup running back that'll be starting, his last name is actually Wilds.
Well,
Brandon Wilds.
And he can tell you?
No, not that I know of. All right. This game involves some local kids. Illinois and Purdue. That game will be on ESPN2 at 12 noon. Purdue's 3-3. Illinois, I think they lost their first game last week to Ohio State. I'd like to see the local kids get a win, but I think Illinois is just a little bit better, and hopefully Purdue can pull it off. But if I had to bet money, I'd have to put it on Illinois.
Well, since I'm not betting money, I'm going to go ahead and pick Purdue to win.
I hope they do win.
That my boy Ralph is going to finally get him a big game. I think he almost had 100 last week, so maybe he's getting in the groove a little bit.
All right. Let's see if we can pick some other.
LSU and Auburn.
Yeah, let's go here. Let's go ahead and get this one. Auburn and LSU. Where's that game going to be at? LSU?
I'm really not sure.
I don't care where it's at. I hope LSU beats the brakes off of Auburn. I'm going to say LSU wins that game by. I hope they up by 35, and I hope Les Miles on 4th and 20 goes for it and scores a touchdown on Auburn.
Like I said, I did read this afternoon where the starting running back from LSU and their top defensive back have both been suspended, definitely for this game and possibly for a few more. So
Auburn ain't got that good of a passing game anyway. So and LSU, they got probably 2 4-star recruits ready to step up and run the ball anyways.
So I'm going to still give the nod to LSU, probably a little closer than it normally would be, though.
All right. Georgia Tech, they lost their first one in a upset last week against Virginia. And they're going to be playing Miami, and Miami's sitting at 3-3, but Miami's kind of a Jekyll and Jekyll team.
Right,
you don't know
which team's going to
show up. But Georgia Tech, they can run the ball and better than probably anybody outside of Navy, and that may be it. They can run the ball just as good as anybody.
That's it. They put some points on the board.
But they pass the ball now, too.
The only thing that worries me about Tech is they give up a bunch of points, too.
They do.
So their defense is not real strong.
I'm still going to say Georgia Tech's got enough athletes to outlast Miami. Not only by a touchdown, though. I'll say only by a touchdown.
Well, I'm going to make my boy Snapper Hobbs really happy now. I'm going to pick the Canes to win.
I'll be rooting for the Canes in that game. I'm not a Georgia Tech fan, too bit. All right.
No, I don't think I won't be. If there's a Gator banner here next week, I will not show up.
I will be rooting for the Gators next week. So I'll jump on that Gator bandwagon until they play Carolina.
I see I'm getting outnumbered here already.
I need Georgia to lose every game they can the rest of the way.
If I got any fans, y'all show up at about 6 o'clock next Wednesday. Please help me out.
All right, another an offensive touchdown. All right, this is a rivalry game, but I don't think the rivalry will mean much. Tennessee and Alabama. Tennessee played LSU tough for about 15 minutes last week. I think Alabama and LSU are on the level all by themselves, so I'll say Alabama's probably going to beat them by, I would usually say 4 touchdowns, but since it's a rivalry game, I'll say they're going to beat them by 5 touchdowns.
Right. Like I said, Tennessee's, like I said, they're hurting right now. They lost top receiver, their quarterback.
Their quarterback's out.
I saw where a friend of mine, an Alabama fan, showed me a Derek Dooley quote about how he planned on playing against Alabama. He says, first thing you do is you don't score on them first because it ticks them off.
That's right.
So see if that strategy will work. I don't think it will.
All right, 2 more games here. These 2 teams are actually in the top 25, and it's a Pac-10 game. But Washington, they're 5-1, and Stanford is 6-0. Washington, I watched them play at about 1 o'clock in the morning a few weeks ago.
Hard up for something to do, huh?
Yeah, they didn't look bad, but I've seen Stanford play twice this year, and I think Andrew Luck. I know everybody likes this Robert Griffin out of Baylor, but I still think Andrew Luck is the best quarterback in college football, and not only is he the best pure passer, the best kid that can come up to the line, read the defense. He's pretty physical, and he's no slouch when it comes to running the ball either. I'll say Stanford wins by a touchdown, but who knows in the Pac-12, not Pac-10.
However many they got out there. And Stanford should win that game. Like I said, Luck is probably going to be the number 1 draft pick in the NFL next year. So I got to go with them until somebody can knock them off.
All right, and this game is I've seen both these teams play. I actually seen Michigan State play for about the first quarter last week, and they didn't look too bad against Michigan, but they're 5-1, and they played Wisconsin. I don't know here where this game's going to be, but Wisconsin's 6-0. They in the top 10. In some polls, they're in the top 5 in the country. And I've seen Wisconsin play a few times this year, and they're about as physical of a team running the ball. And on defense, they got big D linemen, fast, quick, what I consider just blue-collar type linebackers and linemen, and everybody on that team's fast. I actually think Wisconsin has a shot, if they win out, of making it to the national championship game.
Wisconsin, they always seem to have them huge offensive linemen. I'm talking 330, 340, 350, even 370 I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they're just going to line up, and they're not going to be fancy. They're going to line up and pound it at you.
Yeah.
And I would think they would be favored in this game.
They are. I would say Wisconsin should win this game probably by 7 to 10 points. So I'll take Wisconsin.
Also, I got one other game. It's not a major college game, but for local interest, Terrence Milton, who plays at Clark in Atlanta.
Yeah, I remember Terrence.
They are playing in Waycross Saturday against Albany State at 3 o'clock. So if anyone's interested in going up there and watching that.
I didn't know that.
Right. That's
I
one
didn't
of them,
know that.
Those schools, they play neutral games all over the place sometimes. And like I said, they're going to be at Waycross Memorial Stadium playing at 3 o'clock.
He'll be playing right here close to the house.
That's it. So
how about that?
I'm sure he'd be happy to see a bunch of friends and family. I'm sure the family's going to be there.
And Albany State, what's Clark Atlanta's team name?
They are the Panthers.
Panthers. What's Albany State?
They're the Rams.
The Rams. You from Albany, so you should know that about Albany State. All right. Well, hopefully Terrence can have a big game up there and do Charlton County proud.
That's right.
Terrence is a good kid. Comes from a real good family.
I'm hoping if I can get through with my rec games in time, I can maybe rush up there and get a chance to watch it.
Georgia ain't playing, so you ain't got nothing better to do, huh?
That's it. But that pretty much is going to wrap it up for this edition, and hopefully we'll come back next week with some real good news concerning the Indians.
That's right.
We'll have Georgia-Florida updates next week. Of course, you know where I stand, and Stan's done said where he stands, so
I ain't got no choice, man. I ain't got no
It
choice.
might be a knockdown drag out here next week.
I got to go with whoever's going to, whatever situation's going to benefit my team the most, and you got to hedge your bets that way.
That's right. So, all my dog fans, y'all come out and support me next week. All right, we'll see y'all next week.